Hi guys, it's Aegis here. So today I'm here with another decent deck profile, and this time I'll be covering Kaiser Vermillion, the Blood. So this is basically the Kaiser Vermillion updates, where we get from DCBD 06. It has been a rumor for quite a lot since like May, that we are expecting him to actually arrive, and then we get the Glory Maelstrom. Unfortunately, we didn't get the Platinum ASO yet. Maybe he will come out later, or maybe the other version of the ASOs will come out later. But now we will focus on what we have, which is the Blood. Now, if you play Vanguard long enough, the Blood was the LB5 or the Ultimate Break card, which is very hard to use in the past, because you actually need to wait for 5 damage and you need to count plus 3 to do the stuff. But now he's way easier to use, of course, and the deck itself is actually quite good already with previous upgrades, even though it's not like top tier level, but it's way easier to use. And now with the Blood, things are getting a lot more easier, or even easier to do things, and you have more resources to actually play with your cards. So let's go over the Blood first. Now during your turn, if you still have a original Dragonic Kaiser Vermillion, you will get plus 5k. So this is no matter what your opponent's grades are, as long as you have the Kaiser Vermillion in your soul, you get plus 5. So it's kind of like a cost right thing, but it's not carry over to your opponent's turn. It's only for your turn to kind of balance the game. And if your opponent's Vanguard is grade 3 or higher, then you will get plus 1 crit, and your final Vanguard will get plus 5k. Now this is very important because for like a very long time, our Rising Phoenix kind of relying on the order to get the power, and if your opponent still kind of have some kind of regards on the board, you can't get that effects to go off, and your Rising Phoenix are not going to hit anything because they're only 8k. You need to go for personal right to actually make them to actually hit something. But now with this skill, you at least can be 13k. So this is already a big step forward, because what you need is only a Vermillion, a Kaiser Vermillion in your soul. Then it's like, based on what I test, it's very easy to actually achieve. So this is great, and you get to get a crit whenever you swing, as long as your opponent is grade 3. That's already a big threat, because in the past, your opponent will likely just no guard everything that you attack, and because you don't get a crit. But now you're with the crit, so even when they're at 2 damage, when you swing with a crit, you can still double crit and finish them off. So that makes a huge difference. And a once random skill, so plus 1 until end of turn, when this unit will attack, choose 2 of your opponent's rear circle, and this unit battles all of that unit on the chosen rear circles in your opponent Vanguard. Now it is an active skill, so you do need to Soul Blast that first. That's very important. But then it's when you attack, then you select the circle, so you can actually select whatever. You can just select 1 circle with rear, 1 doesn't, or 2 doesn't, whatever combination that you would like to use. And with the Eternal Thunderbolt, after your attack hits the rearguards, you can just bind them as well. So that makes it very important. And because we don't see Sure Rate that often now, so not a lot of people actually playing the Angel Ladder to kind of preventing your rearguards get bind, right? So it's a lot easier for Vermillion attacks to goes off fully, which is a good thing for us. And then another skill, which is at the end of the battle, this unit attacks if you play a normal order, which is basically the Eternal Thunderbolt, and your opponent's damage zone has 4 or less cards, you can discard a card from hand, choose one of your opponent's vanguards and deal 1 damage. So this is another the skill that Vermillion does have to chase damage, and it's still there. It can be helpful, right? So basically it's still kind of the same, but then you use Soul Blast instead of Counter Blast. So this way, I think you don't need to care too much about your opponents denying your damage. Of course, having Counter Blast is still very important, but even if you don't, you can still do your plays by removing a Eternal Vulnerable from the drop zone or play it from hand, and then Soul Blast 1 to make sure you can attack a total of 3 circles, including the Vanguard circle. And if your opponent's damage is not enough, you can still discard a card to deal 1 damage to them, which can be another Eternal Thunderbolt, it can be a Rising Phoenix, which helps you next turn, or generates you the combo that you really need to. After you hit, you bring the Phoenix back, something like that. Or like after, because you need to discard after they take the damage, so the Rising Phoenix cannot actually reborn through the attack, but then your other stuff can actually reborn those stuff. So if you need the combo pieces, you get the chance to discard right there. So yeah, there's a lot of things that you can do, and more flexible, better cost usage, so I think it's a very good upgrade. And the rest of the right line is just the original Vermillion right line, because we do want our Eternal Thunderbolt, we do want to search specific units or even more Eternal Thunderbolt, so the right line is still very important when you make this deck. At least that's what I think. Right, going through the main deck now. I'm running 3 More the Blood, because Personal Right is also very important. 3 Vermillion for putting at least 1 into the soul. As long as you have 1 in there, that's all you need. The rest you can just discard or just play them out to attack for, so don't need to worry about that too much. But we do need this much for the accuracy to find it, so at least, I would say at least 3. If you cut to 2, you might still have a risk of not being able to pull off the whole skill. So, and I'd rather not to have that to happen, so that's why. And then max out your Eternal Vulnerable for sure, because it can be played in your drop zone anyway, so you can feel free to just ditch it for using your right line, ditch it for using your PG, whatever you need to, or even like deal 1 damage if you need to, as long as you can just recycle, use it again from the drop zone. That's, I think it's totally fine. If you keep it in hand, you can play it from hand and then just bind it the next turn, so you can use it kind of twice if you have to, if you want to. But I don't see you will be using more than 3 to 4 times, so I think that's fine. And then 4 of the Rough Cull Hammer Dragon. Now this is very important card. I would say you have to have 4, because I did fight a Fafnir deck where whenever it reaches my turn, I don't have any other targets except my opponent's Vanguard. So even if you activate your Eternal Thunderbolt, you can just plus 5k to your front row regards, basically. And if you can't bind anything, your Rising Phoenix will not be active at all, and you can not win just by 3 punches for sure. And your resources will get drained through time, because you're only doing 3 attacks. They have a whole bunch of cards in their hand. They can guard, they can attack you 2 times with your Vanguard, and there's a lot of things that can do similar things. Clear their own board, stock up a whole big hand to defend you, and then play the board again, turn them into resources after attacking, and just keep repeating. They gain resources, you lose resources, and you lose. So this card is very important here, because he binds himself and he can return himself as long as you play your Eternal Thunderbolt basically every turn, right? And it gets plus 5k if you play a normal order, which you should, and then you get a Counter Blast 1 to draw 1 card and bind this card after the end of the battle, which is great. And it gets plus 5k already to at least hit 18. With the blood skill, you'll get plus 5k again, which is 23. Plus this, it will be 28. Right? So that's, to me, is a very important card, because the main reason I lose to Fafnir is because the whole game I did not see this card, and I'm running 4 off, right? Like, I see one going to my damage, then get to the drop, and then I didn't see my 3 even when I'm dead. So if I get a single copy, I can kind of turn the table around, or at least not losing that badly. So 4 is a must, because I even want more like after that. So yeah, you can see how desperate I am with this card. And another card that can bind itself is the new support, which is Kashin. So Kashin, if you have a Vanguard with only Narukami for its clan, is also a Narukami, so it can be searched with card effects that's looking for Narukami cards, which is great. And when on plays on Regal Circle from hand, if you have a Narukami only clan Vanguard, then you can look at top 7 cards, choose one card with Vermillion in its card name, and only Narukami for its clan, which should be, and or up to 1 Eternal Thunderbolt. From then review it, add to your hand, shuffle the deck. If you review a card, choose one card from your hand, put it in your soul, or discard it. So this skill allows you to search these 3, and then you can put 1 into the soul if you search 1, or discard that card. Or not exactly that card, but 1 card from your hand, right? So what you would do is you try to search for these, and you will put this into your soul. You will put this into your soul. If you pick this, you would put something else into the soul, which hopefully will be one of these. Now, why even this you put into the soul? Because your the blood will need to soul blast 1 to use the skill, right? Then you put this in, soul blast that to get to attack 3 circles, including 1 Vanguard circle for the attack, and then you activate it. So you don't actually lose like extra resources, because if you just discard it, it will be a waste, right? So, and you have a lot of cards that requires you to soul blast. So yeah, if you find these 2, put them in. And another skill, Regal Circle when it's doing attacks, if you have a Great Free or higher Vanguard with Vermillion in its card name, which you will be, then you can plus 1, this one will get plus 10k until the end of battle, and after that battle, you will bind it. Which, by binding herself, you activate your Rising Phoenix. Binding this, you get your Rising Phoenix. So you get to attack with these unit spirits, bring your Rising Phoenix out, and then use your Vanguard to attack. And whatever power gain you get from the triggers, you can directly turn into your Rising Phoenix, which is something that we couldn't do that much in the past, because we only have this, and we kind of rely on Vermillion to attack to hit, and then you bring your Phoenixes out, right? So now we have 2 targets to reborn our Phoenixes before our Vanguard attacks, and then plus Personal Right, plus the Blood skill, plus this, your Rising Phoenix will be a 28k base. Basically, if you get to like board wipe your opponents fully, which is again a very big step from 23 max to 28 max. That's, to me, is a very big evolution, and you are being able to search these ones to fulfill your combos. This makes the deck like actually rotates or like piloting very well, even though it does have times where I did not see any of these at all. It happens, but at least you are preparing yourself for these. Get your Rising Phoenix plays, do multiple attacks, you have a higher chance to win, higher chance to pull the triggers. Everyone happy, at least. That's what I think. And then I'm putting 2 at the right cost because I don't have too much spots. I even cut one of the Vermillion because I was running 4, but then to me I think it's too much, because in the end I'm only need to put 1 into my soul, and as long as I don't soul blast that, I think I'm fine, unless I'm playing against prison. But if it happens, it happens. So I have make room for the right cards because I was running one of the grade 2 there to try to soul charge +5 to do something, but I do think I prefer a little bit more drawing power because I don't have a lot. So yeah, there we go. Just 2 because I only have that much space for it. I don't want to cut any of these, so well, which I already cut one, so I don't want to cut anymore. And then for the spark spikes, because it's your draw power, it adds more power to your attacking line as long as your Vanguard attack hits 2 times, which will sometimes contradict with these because you need to attack with them first and then your Vanguard attack, so your opponents can probably just intercept everything before you get to hit them. But I think it's still a very good ad here, and as long as you can feed them very well, make them big, that your opponents cannot just simply double intercept and just call it a day, then you should still be fine. And then for Rising Phoenix, where you cannot cut this as well, so like unfortunately this cannot cut. This probably I would say cannot cut, this 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 already cut. This, depending on how long you think your game will be, you might be able to cut one. So you can see the deck content itself, based on what I test, I think is very tight. And I'm putting 2 Shenry here for the draw power as well. Yeah, you can see how tight that these draw powers, I can only put 2 each, and then I'm ending with 4 PGs before we going through the triggers, right? Rising Phoenix is very important because if you don't have that, you can't do your multiple attacks, because you only can rely on Rising Phoenix to come out after something gets bind, which will be these. So they are multiple attacker, enable engine. This is the multiple attacker. You might able to cut this, but I think it's still very good to support you to hit big numbers and draw your cards, because I was testing against Vermillion, which basically will kind of board wipe me back as well, so I don't get to get this card to stay long enough. But if you're not facing decks that requires you heavy and this card stays, it helps you a lot, right? And even like any other stuff, as long as they stays, they help you a lot. So I don't find much area that you can cut for now. The 4 free space, that's how I turn it into, right? Because this feeds me, so this can save me sometimes for defensive. That is why I'm running both instead of just choose one and put 4 up. Triggers. Dragon Empire OT. You gain crit, so nothing too much to say about that. Sowing crit, so that you have enough soul in case you need. 4 more crits. Soul in front, because it's front and also get into the soul so you can use it. And then just normal heals. For PGs, if you want to use the Blitz Order, you can. But to me, I just want to keep it simple, and that's it. Yeah, if you like kind of really want to find some space for regular piece, you might consider cut one of these, I guess, which you can use the Caliber to draw cards if you want to. You can use Twin cards if you want to like kind of protect yourself, which is also possible. And Angel Letter is okay if you want more souls, which probably will be just that, right? Other than that, I don't think the other regular piece is going to help you too much. Yeah, I would say so. So if you really want to put one regular piece in, it will be one of the 3, and then you can just cut one of these out and happy man. Yeah. So the deck itself is kind of changed, to me at least, quite a bit. One thing is you are running a lot more graveyard units, so you don't have a lot of shield value left, but you do need those graveyard units because this is key for your mortal attacks. This is a new Vanguard, you need to personalize. This is the key piece that you need to at least put one in to your soul, and this basically activates your engine. So yeah, I guess. Unfortunately, the deck is kind of tight, where we do want more kind of support, but no, you don't get too much. But it's good support, and I actually play a few games, even though again it's against Vermillion, which is a very bad matchup, but because of that, I actually get to learn how to like arrange my things, how many stuff that I expect to get retired, how much I should give, the moment that I need to guard for, how the resource management is. So it's a very good experience, and I think if I'm not fighting against that, which will make me a lot more comfortable, and because I have went through kind of like the worst matchup, then I know how to play against other things, because I can make the deck a lot stronger against other types, and I can just fight Vermillion better. So it turns the deck actually to a really good deck, I would say. Instead of like when we first see Vermillion, it isn't doing much and it's so restrictive for you to get your combos off. Now you can just do your own thing and still get your combos off a lot easier with a lot of searches, and the searches are also doing great in attacking. I think for now we can be satisfied, but hopefully we can still get more support for Vermillion, because I do understand that there should be a lot of fanboys for Vermillion, and even in the Singapore Deluxe, there's someone choked this deck and fight against Brazil, even though he lost. But I think it doesn't mean the deck cannot win against Brazil. You just need a little bit more luck and do a little bit more controls, and you should still be fine with this deck. And I would suggest you give it a try. I don't think the deck itself will be very expensive to build, because a lot of stuff like the base Vermillion stuff will be cheap. These shouldn't be like very expensive. This may be, but I'm only running 2, so I think it's fine. Shenri, maybe depending on what language you play. If you're playing JP, it might cost you a little bit. If you're playing English, I think it's way cheaper. This is kind of cheap. This should be cheap. So yeah, I think it's also a very budget option for you to take into tournaments, because it could still help you out, but you do need to make sure you practice against some meta decks, some hard matchups, and you should be fine. Yeah, so if you have any questions, feel free to let me know in the comments down below. Subscribe for more deck profiles, unboxing videos, deck fights. I might actually not doing that much deck fights because it's holiday season. My friends aren't actually coming out. They sometimes just secretly hide out and just play Discord. So yeah, I don't get to record too many things, but I do get to test with other friends as well to make sure the deck is kind of functioning as what I want to, before I actually showcase to you guys. Just making a idea draft first and just roll it out. I do want to test it out, make some changes, which happens. Like the Vermillion, I cut it to 3. This is through the testing. So yeah, give it a try. Let me know in the comments down below, and I will see you guys in the next video. Signing off.